Hello, my amazing students, and welcome again to your channel. If you're new here, my name is Clara, and I'm really happy you're here today, honestly. So, today we're going to talk about something that might surprise you a little. Relaxation. Yeah, I know. Not grammar, not vocabulary, not pronunciation. Relaxation. And, I've noticed something over the years, and it's actually kind of funny. The students who speak better are not always the smartest ones. They're not the ones with the most perfect notes. They're not even the most disciplined sometimes. They're just more relaxed. And I know that sounds strange, right? Like, shouldn't we push harder, study more, try more? But language doesn't grow well under pressure. It grows under safety. Have you ever noticed what happens to your body when someone suddenly asks you a question in English? Your shoulders tighten a little, your breathing changes, your mind starts racing, and suddenly you're not just speaking, you're performing. And, performance creates tension. But language was never meant to be a performance. It was meant to be connection. And relaxed learners speak better because they feel safe enough to connect. Hello, my best students, and welcome again. Today we're talking about something that sounds simple, almost too simple. Relaxation. And I know, maybe when you clicked on this episode, you expected techniques, advanced vocabulary, secret formulas. But instead, I want to talk to you about something softer. Because after years of watching learners struggle, I noticed something that changed the way I teach. The students who speak better are not the ones pushing the hardest. They're the ones breathing. And I mean that literally. Have you ever noticed what happens to your body when someone suddenly asks you a question in English? Your shoulders tighten, your jaw stiffens, your breathing becomes shallow, and inside your head, everything speeds up. You start searching for words like you're running after them. You think about grammar. You think about mistakes. You think about how you sound. And in that moment, you are not communicating anymore. You are performing, and performance creates pressure. But language was never meant to be a performance. It was meant to be connection. Let me tell you something honestly. If you feel tense when speaking English, it doesn't mean your English is bad. It means your nervous system doesn't feel safe. And your nervous system always wins. When you're stressed, your brain releases chemicals designed for survival. Not creativity, not expression. Survival. That's why sometimes you know the word, you studied it, you saw it yesterday. But in conversation, it disappears. Not because you forgot, but because stress closed the door to your memory. Relaxed learners speak better because their memory stays open, their breathing stays steady, their mind stays flexible. And flexibility is everything in conversation. Think about it. When you're relaxed in your native language, you don't prepare sentences, you don't think about structure, you just respond. Sometimes slowly, sometimes imperfectly, but naturally. That natural rhythm is what we're trying to bring into your English. Not speed, not perfection, just natural rhythm. And here's something important. Being relaxed doesn't mean you don't care. It doesn't mean you're lazy. It means you trust the process. You trust that you don't need to prove your intelligence in every sentence. You trust that communication is more important than impression. Let me ask you something gently. When you speak English, who are you trying to impress? Your teacher? Strangers? Yourself? Sometimes the pressure isn't coming from outside. It's coming from the voice inside your head saying, "You should be better by now." That sentence alone creates tension. So let's replace it. Instead of saying, "I should be fluent already," try saying, "I'm building fluency." Feel the difference. One creates pressure, the other creates movement. Now slow down with me for a second. Take a breath. Inhale slowly and exhale slowly. Notice how your chest feels. When your body relaxes, your voice changes. And when your voice changes, your confidence shifts. Confidence isn't loud. It's calm. It's steady. It's someone speaking at their own pace without apologizing for it. Relaxed learners speak better because they allow pauses. They don't panic in silence. They don't rush to fill every second. They understand that conversation is not a race. It's an exchange. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do in English is pause. Let a sentence breathe, then continue. And maybe this is the first shift you need to make. Stop trying to sound advanced. Start trying to sound comfortable. Because comfort grows into fluency. But pressure? Pressure only creates burnout. And I don't want you burning out. I want you lasting. I want you speaking English 6 months from now, a year from now, without anxiety, without that tight feeling in your stomach. Just steady growth. So today, we're not pushing harder. We're softening. And softening might be the strongest thing you do for your English. Good. Let's continue. Stay with me. Because now, I want to take this a little deeper. Not in a heavy way, just honestly. There's something many learners don't admit. Sometimes, when you speak English, you feel exposed. Like people can see your level. Like they can measure your intelligence by your grammar. And that feeling creates tension. You don't just want to communicate, you want to protect your image. But here's the gentle truth. Most people are not analyzing you. They are thinking about themselves. They are worried about how they sound. They are focused on their own sentences. And while you are inside your head thinking, was that correct? Did I use the right tense? They already moved on. Relaxed learners understand this. They don't make conversation about their performance, they make it about connection. Let me give you a simple example. 2 learners are asked the same question. What do you think about remote work? The first learner thinks, okay, opinion, structure, maybe I should say, in my point of view, wait, is that correct? Or, from my point of view, okay, grammar, present tense, and by the time they start speaking, their voice is tight. The second learner thinks, okay, just answer, and they say, I like it, I feel more free, but sometimes it's lonely. Simple, not perfect, but natural. Which one sounds more fluent? The relaxed one. Because fluency is not about complexity, it's about flow. And flow comes from trust. Let me tell you something important. You cannot force yourself into relaxation. You can't say, okay, relax now, and expect magic. Relaxation is built through small, safe experiences. Moments where you speak and nothing bad happens. Moments where you make a mistake and the world doesn't collapse. Moments where someone says, I understand you, even if your grammar wasn't perfect. Those moments rewire your brain. Your nervous system slowly learns, okay, this is safe. And when your brain feels safe, your vocabulary becomes accessible. Your pronunciation improves. Your ideas come faster. Now I want you to think about something gently. When was the last time you practiced English in a calm environment? Not rushing, not testing yourself, just speaking slowly. Maybe never. Most learners practice under pressure, timed exercises, speaking exams, fast shadowing, constant correction. But what if, Once a day, you created a calm practice moment. Let me guide you through one. Right now, imagine you're sitting alone. No one judging, no one correcting. You look around your room and describe what you see. Slowly. There's a table near the window. Pause. I can see my phone and a cup of coffee. Pause. You're not performing, you're observing. An observation is peaceful. That kind of speaking builds relaxed confidence because you're training expression without fear. Another small shift? Stop apologizing when you speak. Have you noticed how often learners say, "Sorry, my English is bad," before they even start? That sentence creates tension before the conversation begins. Instead, just begin. No apology, no warning, just speak. You don't need permission. And here's something beautiful about relaxed learners. They smile more. It sounds small, but it changes everything. When you smile, your voice softens, your tone becomes warmer. Even your pronunciation improves because your mouth is more flexible. Try this. Say the sentence, "I'm still learning, but I'm improving." First, say it with a tight face. Now say it with a small smile. Feel the difference? That's relaxation in action. And relaxation creates clarity. You don't need more pressure, you need more gentleness. Because language grows in gentle repetition, not in stress. And maybe today, the most important thing you take from this episode is this. You are allowed to learn calmly. You are allowed to grow slowly. You are allowed to speak imperfectly. That permission alone reduces tension, and reduced tension opens fluency. We're not chasing speed, we're building stability, and stability is stronger than intensity. Good. Let's go a little deeper now. Not harder, just deeper. Because sometimes the reason you're not relaxed in English has nothing to do with English. It has to do with identity. Who you think you are when you speak. Some learners feel small when they speak English. They feel less intelligent than they are in their native language. They feel slower, less funny, less expressive. And that feeling creates pressure. You're not just trying to communicate, you're trying to protect your identity. And that's heavy. But here's something soft and important. You are not your accent. You are not your grammar mistakes. You are not your pauses. You are a person learning a skill. That's all. And skills take time to look natural. Imagine playing the piano for the first time. Your hands move slowly. You hesitate. You press the wrong key sometimes. But no one expects you to sound like a professional. So why do you expect that from your English? Relaxed learners separate their identity from their performance. If they make a mistake, they think, "Oh, that sentence was messy," not, "I'm bad at English." That difference is huge, because one creates shame, the other creates learning. Now let's shift into something practical again. I want you to experience relaxed speaking, not just understand it. So we're going to do a longer guided exercise together. No rush, just calm repetition. Take a slow breath. Inhale, exhale. Good. Now listen to this sentence. Sometimes I overthink when I speak English. Repeat it, slowly. Sometimes I overthink when I speak English. Feel the rhythm. Don't rush it. Again. Sometimes I overthink when I speak English. Now say this. But I'm learning to stay calm. Repeat. But I'm learning to stay calm. Notice something. When you slow down, your pronunciation becomes clearer. Your thoughts become organized naturally. Now let's connect ideas. I used to feel nervous in conversations, but now I'm practicing being more relaxed. Say it slowly. Pause after conversations. Let it breathe. You see what we're doing? We're not training speed, we're training stability, and stability builds confidence. Now I'll ask you a question. Answer calmly, no pressure. What usually makes you nervous when speaking English? Pause. Answer out loud, even if your answer is simple. I'm afraid of mistakes, or I worry about my accent. That's enough. Now add one more sentence. But I'm working on it. Good. That right there is growth. Relaxed learners don't wait until fear disappears. They speak gently through it. And each calm sentence reduces fear a little more. Now let's imagine something together. Imagine 6 months from now. You're having a conversation in English. You're not perfect, but you're steady. You pause sometimes, you smile, you express your ideas clearly. You're not rushing. You're not apologizing. You're just speaking. That version of you doesn't exist because you pushed harder. It exists because you softened your approach. You allowed yourself to grow naturally. And that's what we're building. Not dramatic transformation, not overnight fluency, just quiet progress. Now let me tell you something that might surprise you. Sometimes the fastest improvement happens when you stop trying to improve aggressively, when you stop measuring every conversation, when you stop analyzing every mistake, and you just participate. Because participation creates experience, and experience creates fluency. Relaxed learners participate more. They raise their hand. They join the conversation. They don't wait until they feel ready. They understand that readiness comes from action, and action feels easier when you remove pressure. So here's your gentle commitment after this episode. Before your next English conversation, take one breath. Remind yourself, I don't need to impress. I just need to express. And then speak. Slowly, naturally, honestly. That's enough. And I promise you something. If you protect your calmness more than your perfection, your fluency will grow quietly in the background. And one day, you'll notice you're speaking better. Not because you forced it, but because you allowed it. Good. Let's finish this gently. Stay with me, because the most important part is not the technique. It's the feeling you leave with. And I want you to leave this episode lighter than when you started. There's something beautiful about relaxed learners. They don't rush their growth. They understand that language is not something you conquer. It's something you grow into. And growing takes patience. Think about how you learned your first language. You didn't sit down with grammar books. You didn't criticize your pronunciation. You didn't compare yourself to others. You tried. You repeated. You listened. You smiled. You made mistakes. And nobody told you that you were behind. Somehow, when we become adults, we forget that learning is supposed to feel natural. We turn it into a performance, a competition, a timeline. But fluency doesn't follow deadlines. It follows consistency. And consistency is easier when you're calm. Let me tell you something very honestly. You don't need to be impressive in English. You need to be present. Presence is powerful. When you're present, you listen better. When you listen better, you respond better. When you respond better, confidence builds. And confidence builds fluency. Notice the pattern? It all starts with calmness, not pressure, not fear, calmness. I want you to imagine something simple. Imagine walking into a conversation like you're walking into your living room, not like you're walking onto a stage. Your shoulders are relaxed, your breathing is steady, your expectations are realistic. You're not there to perform, you're there to share. That shift alone changes everything. Now, let's do one last speaking moment together. Slow, soft, human. Repeat after me. I'm allowed to learn slowly. Again, I'm allowed to learn slowly. Now this one. My English doesn't need to be perfect to be meaningful. Say it calmly. Feel it, because it's true. Communication is about meaning, not perfection. And when you truly accept that, your body relaxes, your voice becomes more natural, your pauses become confident instead of awkward. Even silence becomes comfortable. And that's when you start sounding fluent. Not because your vocabulary doubled, but because your fear decreased. Sometimes fluency is just the absence of fear. Let that sink in. Sometimes fluency is just the absence of fear. Relaxed learners speak better because they are not fighting themselves. They are not criticizing every sentence. They are not replaying conversations in their head for hours. They speak, they move on, they improve, quietly. And you can become that kind of learner. Not by changing your intelligence, not by studying 10 hours a day, but by protecting your calmness, by choosing gentleness over pressure, by choosing consistency over intensity. From today, I don't want you chasing fluency aggressively. I want you walking toward it steadily, one calm conversation at a time, one relaxed repetition at a time, one gentle correction at a time. And trust me, 6 months of calm consistency will take you further than 6 weeks of stress. You don't need more tension. You need more trust. Trust that your brain is capable. Trust that your mistakes are part of the process. Trust that every time you speak calmly, you're building something strong. And if you remember only one thing from today, let it be this. Fluency grows where fear shrinks. So shrink the fear. Breathe. Speak. Smile. Pause. Continue. And allow your English to grow the way all natural things grow. Slowly. Quietly. Steadily. You're not behind. You're becoming. And that's enough.